On Earth, around the 70s or 80s, mysterious meteorites are crashing in southern England. And they're not the only alien objects to arrive in the area. Brigadier Lethbridge-Stewart's military organisation unit is investigating the mysterious meteorites, and the brigadier recruits the help of sceptical scientist Dr. Elizabeth Shaw.
An expert in meteorites, degrees in medicine, physics, and a dozen other subjects. Just the sort of all-rounder I've been looking for.
Or, as everyone insists on calling her, Miss Elizabeth Shaw.
We need your help, Miss Shaw. Since UNIT was formed, there have been 2 attempts to invade this planet.
Really? Alien invaders? Little blue men with 3 heads.
Some UNIT soldiers find the Doctor and the TARDIS unconscious in the woods, so they take him to a nearby hospital, but his blood isn't human, and his X-rays show that he has 2 hearts. The presence of the TARDIS arouses the suspicion of the Brigadier, since he's met the Doctor a couple of times before, but he doesn't recognise this man's face.
Oh no. Oh no. That's not me at all. No wonder you didn't recognise me. Oh, that face.
In the countryside, a poacher called 𝗚cie discovers one of the meteorites and shows no regard for his personal safety whatsoever by taking it home with him. But someone else is also looking for the meteorites, or should I say something. In a plastics factory nearby, an alien entity is hiding.
We are the Nestines.
Nestines?
We have been colonizing other planets for 1,000 million years. Now we have come to colonize Earth.
The Nestine consciousness is made of pure energy, and it needs physical bodies to inhabit, so it's been inhabiting plastic mannequins called autons, and they can also make super realistic plastic facsimiles of real people. The Nestines are also capable of controlling human minds. The Doctor's alien test results have caused a lot of press attention at the hospital, so the Nestines think that the Doctor must have found one of the meteorites, so they try to kidnap him. Fortunately though, he escapes. And then he has a shower. I'm not sure what narrative purpose is served by showing us this. The Doctor then steals some clothes and a classic car to head to UNIT headquarters where the Brigadier is keeping the TARDIS.
How do I know that you're not an imposter?
Ah, but you don't. You don't. Only I know that.
When he arrives, the Doctor tries to leave in the TARDIS, but he can't. The Time Lords have disabled the TARDIS and taken away the Doctor's knowledge of how to fix it.
Just testing.
As fellow scientists, Liz and the Doctor seem to get along well.
All right, all right. If I accept that you are the Doctor, there are still a lot of things... Oh, by the way, this is Miss Shaw.
That's 𝗏𝘃𝗀𝘀. How do you do?
I've heard better pick-up lines, Doctor.
Delighted, Miss Shaw. Delighted.
What are you a doctor of, by the way?
Practically everything, my dear.
The Doctor's interest is piqued by a meteor fragment that Liz Shaw is examining. 𝗚cie tells the UNIT troops where he's hidden the sphere that he found, hoping for a reward, but the Autons want it too. Fortunately, the Brigadier is able to recover the meteorite with a little help from 𝗚cie's badass wife. The Doctor and Liz learn that the glowing orb contains a part of the Nestine consciousness. The Doctor briefly considers trying to communicate with it, but then decides to build a weapon to kill it instead. While the Doctor is away investigating Madame Tussauds waxwork museum though, the Nestines send a copy of a military general to UNIT to get the orb. And now that it has all the pieces of its consciousness, the Auton invasion begins all over the country. The unit troops cause a distraction for the Autons at the plastic factory whilst the Doctor and Liz sneak in around the back.
Is that what you look like on your own planet?
Yeah, from behind. The Doctor finds the Nestene consciousness, which is manifesting itself as a giant tentacle monster.
It's not working.
It's not plugged in? Still not plugged in. Still not plugged in. There you go. I've had curries that do that. With the tentacle monster dead, the Autons collapse and the world is saved. Since the Doctor is trapped on Earth, the Brigadier offers him a job as UNIT's scientific advisor. And the Doctor accepts as long as he can have a lab to fix the TARDIS, Liz Shaw to stay as his assistant, and a car with character to drive around in.
Oh, by the way, I've just realised. I don't even know your name.
Smith. Dr. John Smith.
The Doctor agrees to help the Brigadier investigate several strange events at an underground atomic power research facility in Derbyshire, mainly because he wants to test out his new car, which he's named 𝗵𝗀𝘀cie.
I'll have you know this is a car of great character.
The research base has been suffering unexplained power drains every time they try to bring their nuclear reactor online. Staff are regularly off sick because they've reverted to a caveman-like mental state.
It's all right.
And potholers in the caves nearby have been attacked and killed by a monster. So, naturally, the Doctor heads down to the caves to see what's going on.
Now, do you have any suggestions to make?
Planned, cautious, scientific investigation of those caves. Not an invasion by a lot of big-booted soldiers.
He does get attacked a bit by a dinosaur. But eventually, he finds the Silurians.
Hello. Are you a Silurian?
The ancient Silurian civilization has been hibernating in the caves for hundreds of millions of years. The Silurians believed that a planet was going to crash into the Earth, destroying all life, so they went into hibernation underground to avoid the catastrophe.
But don't you see that small planet was drawn into the Earth's orbit and became the moon? Your catastrophe never happened.
I think the moon arrived long before the Silurian era, but whatever. The Silurians were the original dominant life form on Earth long before humans evolved from apes.
This is our planet. We were here before man.
And now they want their planet back. The Brigadier wants to send soldiers into the caves, presumably to shoot all the Silurians, but the Doctor wants to negotiate a peaceful resolution.
That's typical of the military mind, isn't it? Present them with a new problem and they start shooting at it.
Despite the Doctor's best efforts to secure peace, the Silurians keep sending their pet dinosaur to eat people, and the humans shoot one of the Silurians in the caves. The injured Silurian is forced above ground and attacks a few local people, including Liz. She's okay though. In fact, that scratch on her face heals in just a couple of hours.
I'll need help manning the phones.
I am a scientist, not an office boy.
You're a member of UNIT, Miss Shaw, and you'll do as you're told.
One of the scientists at the base has been secretly working with the Silurians because they've promised him advanced scientific knowledge. The scientist kidnaps the injured Silurian, though, and tries to force it to give him advanced knowledge, which doesn't go well for him, because the Silurians apparently have a weapon built into their heads. In fact, the Silurian's third eye seems to be a multifunctional tool that does everything from opening doors to using a computer. If that is a computer. The Doctor eventually convinces the Silurian leader that the humans and the Silurians can live peacefully on Earth together.
There is not room for both civilizations.
Yes, I think there is.
But the friendly Silurian leader isn't the leader for very long.
I am the leader now!
The new Silurian leader wants to kill all the humans to get his planet back, so he unleashes a deadly virus on the world.
Do not attempt to leave the station. Attention, please. Attention, please.
Stop touching him, he's obviously super infectious. Before he died, the friendly Silurian leader gave the Doctor a sample of the plague bacteria, and the Doctor is able to find a cure. Unfortunately, the Silurians kidnap the Doctor before he can finish writing down the formula. Fortunately though, 𝗲𝗄𝗃 is able to complete the formula based on the Doctor's notes. Without the plague virus to kill all the humans, the Silurians now resort to Plan B, which is to use a molecular disperser machine to disperse the Van Allen filter belt around the Earth, which would make the planet super hot and uninhabitable for humans, but perfect for reptiles. They need power from the research base to power their machine though, so they force the Doctor to connect it up for them by basically saying, if you don't connect up this machine that will kill everybody, we're going to kill everybody. Wait a minute. The Doctor tricks them though and causes a power surge to destroy the disperser machine, but it also sends the nuclear reactor into overload. The Silurians think that the whole area is about to become irradiated, so they return to their base to go back into hibernation until the radiation clears. This is obviously a really stupid plan because they are completely vulnerable whilst they're in hibernation. The Silurians obviously haven't thought of that though. After the Silurians have left to go back to sleep, the Doctor and 𝗲𝗃 manage to get the nuclear reactor back under control. The Doctor goes back into the caves to examine the Silurians' hibernation technology, in the hope that he can revive them one by one and negotiate a proper peace treaty. But the Silurian leader is still awake, and he is not interested in negotiation.
The others must be revived at once. But first, I shall kill you.
Fortunately, the Brigadier followed the Doctor into the caves and saves the Doctor's life. The Doctor and 𝗲𝗃 head back to London to fetch equipment and scientists to help revive the Silurians, but as they are leaving, the government orders the Brigadier to destroy the Silurian base.
But that's murder. They were intelligent alien beings. A whole race of them. He's just wiped them out.
The Doctor is trying to fix the TARDIS control console, but all he manages to do is to send 𝗲𝗃 a few seconds into the future.
Oh, there you are.
In space, a recovery capsule has been sent to recover Mars Probe 7, which the Earth lost contact with 7 months ago. Sorry, I nearly dozed off there. Earth loses contact with both spaceships just as they are docking, and something in space sends a message to Earth in the form of a really annoying sound. And someone on Earth sends a message back with their own annoying sound. Just kidding, the actual message sounds very similar to the first one. The Doctor sees all this on the news and decides to get involved, so he heads to the Space Center and immediately starts being rude to people.
Now we've got to break down that code and answer them.
Answer who?
The man's a fool. How can I possibly tell who the message is from until I know what it says?
UNIT tracks down the source of the Earthside transmission, and the Brigadier gets ambushed in a warehouse. The recovery capsule eventually returns to Earth, but it gets stolen when UNIT gets ambushed again, this time by blokes with hairdryer guns. Fortunately, the Doctor gets the space capsule back by gluing people to his car. The astronauts are removed from the capsule and taken away by General Carrington, though, without the Brigadier knowing. General Carrington is a former astronaut himself, and he seems to be at the centre of a conspiracy. The Doctor and the Brigadier go to see Sir James Quinlan, a government representative, to complain that their investigations are being blocked, but Sir James was working with General Carrington to abduct the astronauts.
You mean you're going to tell us the truth?
No.
Oh.
Also part of the conspiracy is a scientist called Dr. Taltalian, who has a very suspicious French accent.
Doctor, give me that tape.
The Doctor outwits Taltalian with his new ability. The Doctor now seems to be able to spontaneously teleport items, which we never see him do again. General Carrington allows the astronauts to be kidnapped again, this time by a hired thug named Regan. Except there are no astronauts in those spacesuits, because they've been replaced by aliens! The aliens, of course, have superpowers that makes them impervious to bullets, and they can kill people just by touching them. Or by touching things nearby. Regan's men also kidnap Liz Shaw because she's interfering with their plan. The aliens feed off radiation to live, so Regan threatens to starve them unless they do what he wants, which is mostly killing people and stealing stuff.
Bullets just bounce off them. With these three, you could do anything. Walk into Fort Knox and help yourself.
Well, that's what you're going to do with them, is it?
I might.
The Doctor eventually decodes the alien message from earlier and realises it's instructions for how to make a translation device to talk to the aliens. I do wonder why the aliens in the spacesuits didn't bring one with them, though. Anyway, Liz tries to escape, but she's recaptured by Dr. Taltalian, who now has a suspicious American accent for some reason.
Dr. Taltalian.
Get in, Miss Shaw.
The Doctor agrees to go to space in a rocket because he believes the Earth astronauts are still up there. Apparently they'll let anyone be an astronaut these days. Once he gets into space, though, he is taken aboard an alien spaceship. And he has a chat with the alien leader.
An agreement was made. You have betrayed us. Unless our ambassadors are returned, we shall destroy your world.
Ambassadors.
The aliens just wanted to communicate peacefully with Earth all along, so they sent ambassadors, although it isn't clear why they kidnapped the astronauts. General Carrington has encountered these aliens once before, though, when he was an astronaut on a previous Mars mission, and the aliens accidentally killed his crewmate by touching him, not realising it would kill him. Carrington is clearly suffering from PTSD, or maybe just good old-fashioned xenophobia, and he wants revenge. He is forcing the alien ambassadors to kill people to convince the rest of the world that an alien invasion is underway.
Arm every available missile with atomic warheads and blast that thing out of our sky.
Isn't that a bit extreme?
It's our moral duty.
Carrington is planning a global broadcast to tell the world to attack the aliens, and the aliens seem to be playing right into his hands when they broadcast their own message to Earth.
We have powers to destroy your planet totally, which we shall use if our ambassadors are not returned.
Hang on, if the aliens can speak English, why did they send us instructions for how to build a machine that would translate their language? The Doctor returns to Earth, but he's quickly kidnapped by Regan. Regan wants the Doctor to build an alien translation device so that he can give more complex instructions to his alien prisoners. But the Doctor tricks Regan and instead builds a radio transmitter, which he uses to signal UNIT, telling them exactly where Regan's headquarters are. The Brigadier arrives and rescues the Doctor, Liz Shaw, and the alien prisoners.
What kept you?
The Doctor then gets the Brigadier and the alien ambassadors to attack the Space Center, just in time to interrupt Carrington's broadcast and tell the world that the aliens are actually peaceful.
I had to do what I did. It was my moral duty. You do understand, don't you?
Yes, General. I understand.
The aliens are returned to their ship and the human astronauts are returned to Earth. In the end, the Doctor, the military, and the aliens communicate with each other and work together to defeat the evils of hatred and xenophobia, and the Doctor wanders off, leaving everyone else to clean up the mess.
Bye, Brigadier.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye, Doctor.
Goodbye, gentlemen. Have a nice trip.
The Doctor is trying to fix the TARDIS console, and he's drawing power from a nuclear reactor at a deep drilling facility called Project Inferno.
Look, without the TARDIS, I feel rather lost. Stranger in a foreign land.
The drilling facility is run by Professor Stahlman, who is obsessed with drilling deeper and faster.
According to my calculations, Petra, we can accelerate the drilling speed by 12% without any adverse effects. This will advance the time of penetration of the Earth's crust by nearly 5 hours.
Stahlman is trying to penetrate the Earth's crust to get to a pocket of gas that can be used as a powerful energy source. Stahlman has imaginatively named the gas Stahlman's gas, which sounds like an unfortunate medical condition.
You, sir, are a nitwit.
Also working at the drilling station is a man called Sir Keith, who is concerned about the potentially dangerous effects of Stahlman releasing his gas. Sir Keith hires a drilling expert called Greg, but Greg's more interested in flirting with Stahlman's assistant than the actual drilling.
Hi.
How do you do?
All the better for seeing you, Petra. Perhaps you could help me settle in the place.
How do you mean, Mr. Sutton?
Well, you know, show me round, dash off a few letters. Perhaps I could borrow you for a bit.
Alright, maybe flirting was the wrong word to use for whatever that was. The drill starts to bring up strange green slime, and if anyone touches the slime, they turn into some kind of de-evolved wolf monster. The monsters are super hot. I mean, literally hot, burning everything they touch, like this scorched wall here. Although it weirdly doesn't seem to affect their clothes, which is probably for the best. Naturally, UNIT is called on to help with the green slime monster situation, and the Doctor, who's on site anyway, also can't help getting involved.
I damn it! Doctor! What on earth do you think you're doing? Venusian karate.
Touching the infectious slime also messes with your mind, and anyone who touches it seems compelled to accelerate the progress of the drilling at all costs. So maybe it's intelligent living slime then. Sadly, we never get to find out. Professor Stahlman also touches some of the slime when it starts to burn through a heat-resistant jar. The Doctor is running his TARDIS experiments in a nearby garage that has, get this, automatic doors.
Won't you come in, Mr. Sutton?
I know, right? So futuristic.
How did you do that?
With this.
He successfully manages to dematerialise himself, the TARDIS console, and Bessie, just as Stahlman cuts off his power. The Doctor wakes up in a place where everything is similar, but not quite the same. It isn't long before he realises he's been transported to an alternate dimension. England in this parallel world is run by an evil military dictatorship, and the scientists at the compound are slaves being forced to work. And the whole operation is run by the sinister section leader Elizabeth Shaw.
Unless you cooperate, you'll soon be in front of a firing squad.
And the evil brigade leader Lethbridge-Stewart.
But I don't exist in your world.
And you won't feel the bullets when we shoot you.
You can tell this is an alternate reality because there's a woman in a position of authority. This alternate drilling operation is further along than the previous one. They're deeper into the Earth's crust and only a couple of hours from penetration. Speaking of which, alternate Petra seems to be much more into alternate Greg's bizarre pickup lines.
Are you going to be a nice, well-behaved little zombie, or are you going to join the rebels?
Being further along with the drilling also means there's more slime to infect people. Despite all the monsters running around, alternate Styleman insists on keeping the drill going despite everyone's warnings. Mainly because the slime is affecting his mind.
Professor Styleman's been working on this project for years. He must know what's going on.
But he can still make mistakes, can't he? If he makes one at this stage, it could be a Lulu.
Oh look, he's having a Lulu now. The Doctor realises that the evil slime stuff inside the Earth will cause a world-ending explosion if the drill penetrates the Earth's crust and releases it.
Compared to the forces that you people have unleashed, an atomic blast will be like a summer breeze.
Despite the Doctor's best efforts to stop the drilling, eventually the Earth's crust is penetrated, and the area becomes superheated, and lava begins to spew out. The Doctor explains that this world is now doomed, but he could use the TARDIS console to return to his own reality and save all the people there, because their drill won't penetrate the crust for a few more hours. Since this world is now doomed anyway, the brigade leader agrees to help the Doctor, and everyone starts to set up the nuclear power transfer to the TARDIS console.
Well, I thought it'd be a bit more impressive than that.
What did you expect? Some kind of space rocket with Batman at the controls?
Of course, to do that, they also have to fight off the slime monsters by squirting them with fire extinguishers, including one monster that used to be Sergeant Benton. Petra and Greg sacrifice themselves to get power to the console, but just before the Doctor is about to leave, the brigade leader pulls a gun out.
You're going to take us with you, Doctor.
I can't, I literally can't. It'll create a cosmic disaster.
You're not going to leave us here.
Do you think I want to? I'd give anything to save you all.
Section leader Shaw has a change of heart and shoots the brigade leader to save the Doctor.
Now's your chance, Doctor!
And she helps the Doctor to get away just as the lava consumes the building. The Doctor arrives back in his own reality and warns them to stop the drilling.
An infinity of universes. Ergo, an infinite number of choices. So free will is not an illusion after all. The pattern can be changed.
But this Starman is now suffering from the mind-altering effects of touching the slime too, so he has the Doctor arrested. But the Doctor doesn't mess around when the world needs saving.
Stop this drilling! You don't understand, do you?
Eventually, Stallman is completely transformed into a monster, and he attacks the control room. But he's taken out by some fire extinguishers, leaving the Doctor free to stop the drilling.
Drilling stopped at minus 35 seconds.
The moral of the story being that if you mess with nature and abuse the planet that you live on, the planet will fight back.
Doctor, you're not still tinkering with this machine after all the trouble it's caused us?
The trouble it's caused you?
Doctor, if you hadn't chosen such a crucial moment to disappear, this whole business might have been cleared up a great deal sooner.
Well, you did try to warn everybody, Brigadier.
And a fat lot of notice you all took.
So you went gallivanting off in a fit of pique.
Now that he's saved at least one world, the Doctor tries to leave again using the TARDIS console, but not before telling the Brigadier what he really thinks of him.
I've had about all I can stand of this pompous, self-opinionated idiot here.
But the TARDIS console is still broken, and it doesn't take the Doctor very far.
Where did you go?
A few seconds forward in time, and a few hundred yards due east in space.
The rubbish tip?
The rubbish tip.
Oh dear.
Brigadier, my dear fella, I wonder whether I could borrow a couple of your stalwart chaps to give me a hand in bringing the TARDIS back. It's landed in rather an inaccessible position.
Pompous, self-opinionated idiot, I believe you said, Doctor?
Yes, well, we don't want to bear a grudge for a few hasty words, do we? No, not after all the years that we've worked together. Now, come along, my dear fellow. Put on a smile.